Good evening, everyone. Hello. My name is Luis Guilherme Silva Matias, but as we're friends now, you can just call me Gui for short. It's way better than my long Latino name. So I was given the honor today to be your Master of Ceremonies in this evening, returning once again to this rostrum and the GA Hall. And I say returning because I was here 9 years ago participating in my first WIMUN conference back in 2015. I was 16 years old back then. I was a high school student, and I remember I was so scared talking in front of so many people. I'm still scared now, so please be gentle with me. First of all, if you're having any trouble hearing the intro that I just gave you, please use the earpieces in front of you in your seats, okay? Do not touch the microphones or anything else, but please feel free to just use the earpieces to amplify the sound. All right? Perfect. So without further ado, I would like to start this ceremony with a very special message from the UN Secretary General himself, Antonio Guterres. Thank you.
Thank you for taking part in this model United Nations conference and for believing in the power of global cooperation to solve global problems. We need your engagement and ideas today more than ever. Conflict, poverty, hunger, and inequalities are on the rise. A surge of mistrust and misinformation is polarizing people and paralyzing societies. Human rights are under assault. And the triple planetary crisis, climate disruption, pollution, and catastrophic biodiversity loss is threatening lives and livelihoods everywhere. But we can turn things around. Humanity has shown time and again that we are capable of great things when we work together across geographies and generations. To do so, we need an inclusive and networked multilateralism, one that ensures young people have a seat and a say in shaping our common future. We need your creativity, courage, and commitment. I draw hope from seeing your generation challenge the status quo and call for transformative challenge. The United Nations is your steadfast ally in striving to build a more just, sustainable, inclusive, and peaceful world for all. Thank you.
I thank the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres for his remarks over here and making him present in such a wonderful event and experience. And for now, I would like now to invite all the members of our podium to make their own remarks. It's my honor to give the floor to the WAPUNA President, Dr. Sean Chen. Dr. Chen is a global educator leader and founder chairman of the SIAS University. With over 35 years of experience, he served as president of the AUAP and currently holds key roles in the IAUP and co-founded Plug and Play initiative in the Silicon Valley. So, Dr. Chen, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have all gathered here for the WAPUNA International Model United Nations New York Conference. I want to extend my thanks to Brian Wallace, the permanent representative of Jamaica to the United Nations, and also Assistant General of the Youth Affairs, Dr. Felipe Polia, for their attendance. I also want to give recognition to the permanent mission of Portuguese and Jamaica for their substantial support in this event. Finally, I want to extend my sincere thanks to the many others gathered here today, playing important roles as delegates, teachers, observers, and guests. As we gathered here from around the corner of the globe, I am inspired by dedication of students and educators who have journeyed to New York I believe WAHUNA represents a power of multilateralism and collaboration, especially among our students. This year marks a momentous occasion as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of WAHUNA, emphasize a decade of fostering global citizenship and diplomatic acumen among ourselves. Furthermore, it brings me great joy to announce that this conference stands as a testament to resilience and unity. Being the first in-person session post-COVID, your presence, resilience, and commitment to international dialogue are truly commendable. We are privileged to host participants representing from multitude of countries, painting a vibrant tapestry of the diversity and collaboration. Model UN provides a unique platform for students to immerse themselves in the workings of the United Nations. Throughout this conference, you will navigate the procedures of various of UN bodies and agencies, gaining insight into the complexities of achieving consensus and addressing critical issues, including sustainable development goals. Translating your Model UN experience into action within your local, national, or even international community is a powerful endeavor. Take the knowledge and the skills you acquire here and apply them into the real-world challenge. Engage with the local organization, participate in community projects, advocate for change. WAHUNA is also here to support your goals and initiatives. Through our network of United Nations Association present at the national level. As we delve into a week of a dynamic discussion covering issues ranging from justice in the transition to sustainable economy, innovation, to help achieve gender equality, the effect of AI on international peace and security, and more, we remember to diverse and impactful work of the UN. Beyond the headlines, member states collaborate extensively to find a consensus, evidence the progress made in the ongoing pursuit of sustainable development goals. I encourage you to approach your session with a collaborative spirit, recognize that youth like yourself are the architect of our shared future. Your contribution to those critical discussions are pivotal, and I wish you the utmost success in your deliberations. May the week ahead be filled with fruitful conversation, cooperative problem saving, and a collective commitment to make a world a better place for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Chen, for your speech, reminding us about the importance of youth and collaboration towards a better future. I'd like to call next Dr. Felipe Paulier. Dr. Paulier is the Assistant Secretary General for Youth Affairs at the United Nations. His background includes roles in various political management positions, such as Deputy Mayor in Montevideo, and also as medical doctor, as clinical doctor at Pereira Rossell Pediatric Hospital. Dr. Paulier, it's a pleasure to have you. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Just a short change. I was not the deputy mayor of Montevideo. I was the deputy mayor of a municipality in Montevideo. But I think that it's important to be clear about that because it's about transparency and being honest. That is important to be. I'm really happy to be here. You know, it's the first time I'm speaking at this specific room in the United Nations, and I'm really happy that my first time is having a young audience and an audience of youth-committed leaders. So first of all, welcome to the United Nations. It is my pleasure to be addressing you all today at the opening of the International Model of the United Nations. Thank you to the World Federation of UN Associations, and thanks to the permanent missions of Jamaica and Portugal for convening this conference and for the invitations to join you today. I wanted to be here personally because it's really encouraging for someone at my position, which is as head of a United Nations Youth Office, to be seeing such a diverse group of students from around the world, committing your time and your effort to learn about the processes of the UN and to embody its values. As we kick off a new year, a year specifically ongoing with conflicts, with rising geopolitical tensions, with increasing uncertainty, it is important to remember that humanity is strongest when we stand together. During a time when our world is facing complex and interconnected challenges, young people have continued to serve as a beacon of hope and an important reminder that change is possible even in the most adverse of the circumstances. I assumed my mandate as Assistant Secretary General for Youth Affairs in December 2023. And since the moment I assumed, I've been with a sense of optimism at the prospects to take the UN's work with and for youth to the next level. The establishment of the United Nations Youth Office as a specialized office for youth affairs within the UN Secretariat, backed by strong political support and by consistent financial backing, for the first time in the story of this organization, marks a significant shift in the UN's commitment to young people. 2 months into my role, I have no doubt that 2024 must be a year for rebuilding trust and for restoring hope, with youth at the core of these efforts. The issues you will debate throughout this conference, including the climate crisis, the peace and security agenda, artificial intelligence, education, decent work, the mental health crisis, are indeed some of the most pressing challenges of our time. Yet, while the scope of these issues is immense and complex, I hope that this experience inspires you during your simulation to think of the UN not only as a unique platform for debate and for discussion, but also a critical platform for action. From its inception, the UN was envisioned to unite stakeholders everywhere to tackle the world's greatest challenges. Now, more than ever, we need all stakeholders to join efforts in steering our world onto a more equitable, inclusive, and sustainable path. In these challenges, it is young leaders like you that will play a critical role in challenging the status quo, in getting our world back to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. This September, world's leaders will gather again here in this very hall for the Summit of the Future. The Summit of the Future represents a once-in-a-generation opportunity to enhance cooperation on critical challenges, to address gaps in global governance, and to move towards a multilateral system that is better positioned to positively impact in people's lives. At the Summit of the Future, member states will adopt an action-oriented Pact for the Future, with a chapter focused on youth and on future generations. Together with the whole team of the United Nations Youth Office, we are committed to working with you all in advocating for a pact that paves the way for more meaningful youth engagement in policy and decision-making processes at all levels. Putting diverse voices around the table is the only way to ensure we do not repeat or continue to perpetuate past mistakes. As the global leaders of today and tomorrow, you are a unique position group to help make this happen. We need more young people represented in all realms of decision-making, within governments, at the United Nations, in civil society, in private sector, and also in the academia. I encourage you to channel the enthusiasm and learnings you will take from this conference and to bring them back to your own countries and to your own communities. I wish that you have a very productive conference, and I wish also that you enjoy these days at this amazing place in the world. Thank you, and I hope this is a great experience for all you all.
Thank you, Dr. Paulier, for your speech. I also apologize for the position mistake and appreciate the transparency. I'd also like to thank you for all your regards. May 2024 be the year to rebuild those the trusts and also move towards the SDGs. Now it's my honor to give the floor to His Excellency Brian Wallace, Permanent Representative of Jamaica to the United Nations. His Excellency prosecuted in the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda and served within the UN Secretariat in New York. He also contributed significantly as senator in the Jamaican Parliament, emphasizing matters like the Charter of Rights and Fundamental Freedoms. Currently, he serves as the permanent representative of Jamaica to the United Nations. His Excellency, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to New York, and welcome to the UN. It is my honor to join you this evening as you begin your important deliberations at this year's WIMUN conference. I am particularly impressed by your agenda of work. You're dealing with some of the most important issues of our time: just transition, decent work, innovation and technological change, artificial intelligence, lethal autonomous weapons systems, climate, marine plastic litter, universal health coverage, strengthening infodemic management, and equal access to justice for all. Big issues that require big solutions. Ambassadors in waiting, you embark on these deliberations at a challenging time for multilateralism in general and the UN system in particular. The severity of the polycrises facing humankind at this time call into question the approaches we have taken to their prevention and solution. Is multilateralism working as it should? Is the UN system fit for purpose? At the most fundamental level, do we have general agreement that the best way forward is to work together as nation states to solve the challenges we face? In many instances, and from many perspectives, the answer to all of these questions is, regrettably, no. Not at this time. We see the result of that dysfunction play out in front of our very eyes, manifested in our inability to prevent and stop conflicts and threats to international peace and security, the crawling pace at which we address the most basic inequalities, the reluctance to take the bold action required to deal with climate change, resistance to act urgently to design and implement the necessary reforms within the international economic system, including the international financial institutions, to allow for the development of the economies of the global south, the eradication of poverty, and upliftment of the conditions of life in every sphere. This is not even an exhaustive list. If we accept that we are not succeeding as we need to, we must then address our minds as to why this is so, and crucially, how to fix it. Now, it is very easy to point fingers and to say, well, the UN is not doing what it should, or the Security Council has failed to prevent conflict. But I think we need to look at this in a more granular way. What exactly is the UN? Who are its shareholders and constituents? What exactly is its role, and how does it function? The United Nations is first and foremost, and at its most basic level, a convener of sovereign states. Sovereign states represented by governments, who in turn provide instructions to their diplomats to take positions here. These positions reflect the intricacies of their national interests, applying the values they hold dear, aiming for the outcomes they wish to see, to formulate their foreign policy postures and positions, and to act accordingly. The United Nations provides the space, the facilities, and the framework for deliberations to take place between these 193 representatives of member states to try and achieve consensus or agreement. This is the convening power of the UN, and to my mind, its most enduring function. In this context, what we see reflected as the success or failure of the UN in respect of decisions made or not made by member states are not necessarily institutional successes or failures of the UN itself. It is the success or failure of the individual constituents to find consensus or agreement. Member states make conscious decisions to take and hold different views, refusing to compromise or relent, regardless of the outcome, indeed, sometimes in spite of the inevitable consequences of the action or failure to act. And yet, when the result is no agreement and no decision, the UN gets the blame for the failure, and the questions are raised as to its very relevance. But the UN as an institution and as a collective of sovereign states cannot coerce consensus, agreement, or decision-making by its membership. How then do member states derive the considerations and inputs for their decision-making powers? At the most fundamental level, they take them from an assessment of the values of their citizenry, those tenets that bind a nation of people together in common belief and design. Indeed, it is no longer true to say that the subjects of international law are member states. With the advent of technology, the global citizen now has access to information on a global scale, and decisions taken in the multilateral sphere have direct consequences for the individual. That landscape has therefore changed forever. After all is said and done, it is we the people who bear the responsibility to shape the stances, the postures, and positions of our governments by ensuring that they hold true to the values we hold dear. I am confident that as human beings who share a common home, the differences we have, the diversity among us, are mere colors for the inherent values we hold to be true, the fundamental principles of good and right that guide our decision-making in our own lives. Adherence to these values will propel us towards consensus and decisions in favor of the global good in a way that naked national interest cannot. From this perspective, the most important player in the multilateral system at this critical juncture may well be you, that global citizen, the ordinary human being from anywhere and everywhere who believes that he or she is entitled to an equal share of the bounties of our planet home and demands that those bounties should be equitably distributed and accessible. We count on you to ensure that those values are present during the deliberations here. The work we have ahead of us over the next several months and years is to restore among sovereign states that sense of commonality, a reaffirmation in some instances, and an affirmation where there has been none before, of the values we hold as the inherent rights and responsibilities of all global citizens in the 21st century and beyond. These values must then bind us to make decisions and reach consensus in line with the attainment of those aims, and will provide a center, a moral compass, indeed, a global conscience, ensuring that at long last, as Bob Marley sang, the rule of international morality will not remain but a fleeting illusion to be pursued but never attained. In conclusion, as you embark on your deliberations and as we look forward in September this year to the Summit of the Future and the promise held therein, I wish you the best of luck as you apply the energy, intellect, and vigor of youth to these challenging issues. I have a very strong suspicion that you will have far greater success in reaching consensus in your endeavors than others of us of a different generation have had in this same space in the recent past. Future generations will be eternally grateful for your efforts. I thank you.
I thank His Excellency for his remarks, reminding us the importance of the United Nations in our current reality and also why we're here after all, right? I would now like to invite the WIMUN Senior Secretariat members to the rostrum to make their remarks. I'd like to start with the USG of the General Assembly Affairs and Conference Management, Riti Sen Majumdar. Riti, the floor is yours.
Mr. President, Mr. Assistant Secretary General, Mr. Ambassador, distinguished guests, esteemed faculty advisors, ladies and gentlemen, and my dear young friends. My name is Riddhi Sen Majumdar, and I have the pleasure of serving as your USG for DGACM, which in common parlance means I had the opportunity to work on most of the content that you will be dealing with over the next few days, along with an amazing staff of content team members whom you will be seeing over for the next few days. I come from India, an ancient civilization rooted in the culture of Samvad, or dialogue, a nation which since centuries has espoused the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means the whole world is one family. It is ergo in my upbringing within this ethos of oneness from which stems my respect for the idea of liberal internationalism, as manifested through multilateral diplomacy, the home of which we proudly call our host for this August ceremony. I distinctly remember my first time at this podium back in 2017 as a young kid. So much is the weight of this podium's prestige that I, quite literally, fainted after my speech. While I couldn't possibly have fathomed the importance of that moment for my life on that day, I fully do now. Over the years, the idea of United Nations and that the world could be one family has been, let's say in Gen Z lingo, my Roman Empire. And WIMUN has been the constant variable in this calculus of lofty aspirations. In a world torn asunder by conflicts from Europe to Middle East, a global populace plagued by pandemics and pollution, more than ever before in human history, my friends, we truly share a common destiny. And to navigate through these troubled waters, we need a more cooperative problem-solving approach anchored in the determination to pursue consensus, the very approach that WIMUN has so immaculately tried to promote since its inception. I'm confident that through your deliberations, each one of you will subscribe to that consensus idea of WIMUN based firmly in the UN Charter's principle of sovereign equality, and through them, not only learn to be more empathetic of one another's differing opinions, as I'm sure there will be, for our conference is truly a melting pot of cultures, but also proffer ingenuous solutions for humanity. I wish you all the best for the conference. Thank you, and have a great evening ahead.
Thank you. I would now like to invite to the rostrum the USG of Global Communications, Sofia Quadrini.
Mr. President, Assistant Secretary General, distinguished guests, delegates. My name is Sofia Quadrini, and it is with great honor that I stand before you today in the United Nations as the Undersecretary General for Global Communications of WIMUN, New York, 2024. It feels like just yesterday that I embarked on the journey of MUNs and first visited the UN headquarters in Geneva. And now I've had the absolute privilege of participating in the organization of this edition of WIMUN. Over the course of the last few months, my role has mainly led me to communicate with you online over emails, being your main source of contact within the Secretariat. I am very happy to see you all present today and ready to finally begin your role as delegates to your respective countries. I would like to thank all of my fellow Senior Secretariat members, especially Jade, Mashkour, Ridi, Anouk, Jimena, and Chinmay, for investing long hours of hard work. Their commitment into ensuring that we bring you the spirit of diplomacy and collaboration that this historic organization represents is truly impressive. I sincerely wish that you all embrace this experience, and most of all, that you feel inspired to become the change makers of the future. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best for this conference.
Thank you, Sophia. I will now invite the USG of Management, Chinmay Gundler, for his remarks. Thank you.
Mr. President, Mr. Assistant Secretary General, Mr. Ambassador, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed delegates, distinguished guests, faculty advisors, and fellow advocates for global change. My name is Chinmay Gundler, and it is with great pleasure and a profound sense of responsibility that I stand before you today as the Under-Secretary General for Management at the WFUNA International Model United Nations Conference 2024. As we gather in the vibrant city of New York for the first time since the unprecedented challenges of the pandemic in 2020, a shared commitment to diplomacy, collaboration, and global progress resonates more profoundly than ever. The city that never sleeps, where the United Nations finds its home, welcomes you with open arms. New York, a symbol of diversity and resilience, serves as the perfect backdrop for this gathering of young minds, visionaries, and future leaders. Each of you, representing diverse cultures, backgrounds, and perspectives, play a crucial role in shaping the discourse on international relations, sustainable development, and peace. In the year 2012, just like you, I was seated in one of your seats as a delegate representing a country. And today, here, I feel extremely privileged to take this opportunity to welcome you from this podium. And the past 10-odd years have been amazing, including doing a number of Model UN conferences and also working with the International Labour Organization very recently. I and my team, over the past 6 months, have tirelessly worked on numerous things, including logistics, creating handbooks, flow plans, and meetings to ensure that you have an amazing experience at this very conference. My heartfelt gratitude goes to my team, my dearest conference management officers, Emil Vincent Proz, Gayatri Nagasubramaniam, Joanna Zageb, Ruhika Ramalingam, Sally So, Moritz Schuster, and Daniela Serpa-Cicernos, and not to forget Louis, for all the hard work they have put in. In the face of global uncertainties, the value we uphold really matter. Thank you, and I wish you all a successful and enlightening conference, and we are always at your service if you need anything, even if you get lost or even if you need a bottle of water, we are here to serve you. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you, Chinmay, for your speech. I would now like to invite to the rostrum the ASG of Global Communication, Anouk Popov-Sant.
Dear delegates, faculty advisors, guests, President, Ambassador, Assistant Secretary General, welcome to WIMUN New York 2024. After 7 months of virtual interactions and communicating with all of you digitally, it is an honor to stand here and have the opportunity to share a few words at the opening ceremony of what is about to be an incredible week. My name is Anu Popov-Santh, and I had the immense opportunity to work as the Assistant Secretary General for the Department of Global Communications with a wonderful team serving as the media for this conference. This year, we are extremely lucky. In the Communications Department nowadays, we get to work virtually and engage in many ways that let us connect creatively and to adapt to any situation. But this year, after 4 long years, we get to see each other and interact in real life. We get to exchange the conversations and capture memorable moments that will forever be cherished. Communication is key to any situation that we approach. It is at the heart of everything. The power of communication is what drives me throughout my life, not only professionally, but also personally. Growing up, I started realizing that the way I communicated had a significant impact on everything surrounding me. So I started finding different ways to communicate. Media was my way of communicating, my way to share with the world what was important to me. The opportunity to provide a way of communication between WIMUN and the world, to use the power of communication to voice and promote the core values of this organization has been gratifying, and you have the power to do it too. We get to use media to shape perceptions and promote dialogue, disseminate information, and create a platform for diverse voices. Throughout the week, don't hesitate to come forward, ask for a picture, a video, an interview. Don't hesitate to speak louder and confidently when me and my team are around. You can use your own platforms to share with everyone and brag about the incredible opportunity of being part of this conference. Tag us on social media at WIMUN Secretariat so we can show the world what we have been working on and what we are working towards to a broader audience. I'm looking forward to this week with all of you. Follow us on social media to stay updated on everything happening and have an insight on the conference. I encourage active engagement from all participants in utilizing media, as what is not communicated doesn't exist and remains unknown. It is on occasions like these that we get to embrace the spirit of collaboration and open communication and spread a little bit of happiness, good action, and wisdom to show that we support multilateralism. I want to thank all of the staff for putting this whole conference together. I wish everyone a productive and successful WIMUN 2024.
Thank you so much, Anouk, for your remarks. I now invite the ASG of General Assembly Affairs and Conference Management, Jimena Barrientos, to the rostrum. Thank you.
Distinguished dignitaries, Assistant Secretaries General, Mr. President, Mr. Ambassador, fellow delegates, welcome to the WIMUN Conference, New York 2024. My name is Jimena Barrientos, and for this simulation, I'm going to be your Assistant Secretary General for the Department of General Management, General Assembly Affairs, and Conference Management. And it's both my privilege and honor to address to you today. Over the past 6 months, in preparing for the world's more accurate simulation of the United Nations, I have had the opportunity to work with an amazing team and learn from them, young leaders from across the world, the Secretariat team of this conference. They have worked tirelessly, night and day, to organize one of the conference of this magnitude. Over the next few days, you will see the tireless work that they have done, work to fruition through your simulation and the life-changing experience that I'm sure you will all undergo. The Secretariat's efforts have spanned from designing extensive training presentations to also preparing world-class resources, figuring out how to work HDMI cords, and how to connect their laptops to the screens. I could not be more grateful for them, and you guys really inspire me to commitment and attention to detail for this conference. I'm also grateful for the rest of the Senior Secretary. Not always have them become my team, but they have always become my friends. Anouk, Riti, Jade, Chinmay, thanks for having the best time with me. We have had meetings at 4 a.m., worked throughout weekends, spent countless hours creating the best experience for us and for also you, our delegates. I'm so eager on the side of hopeful, so say, well done. Finally, I would like to express my hopes for the delegates. It takes a lot of courage to leave your countries and the daily life to fly all the way back to New York and the UN General Assembly to take a chance at learning something new. You should all be proud of your courage to come here, and I will ask you to simply give this conference your best approach, as this is one of the greatest learning experiences of your life. I remember 3 years ago, I was seated right back then. I wasn't sure about what I was going to do, but it definitely changed my life forever. As a delegate, it had given me some of the best friendships, memories, and experiences of my life, which I'm certain that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. I hope WIMUN does to you what it has done for me, and I hope to see a lot of less nervous faces at the end of this conference. So thank you all, and have a great experience in WIMUN 2024. Congratulations on being here.
Thank you, Jimena, for your speech. Well, you know, I told you all about my speech back in 2015, and it wasn't to brag. I did plenty of that with my UN nerd friends back in high school. I did it because that day, that conference, was life-changing to me. And as you can see from the speeches of my colleagues, I wasn't the only one. You see, WIMUN is not only the most accurate simulation and realistic experience of the UN in the entire world, and of course, in the next few days, you get to debate real UN issues and learn from actual experts on the topic. You see firsthand the importance of consensus and enjoy all the excitement of being in New York City. But for me, WIMUN is mostly about one thing: the people. So take a moment to look around, like actually look. Look at where you are, but most of all, look at who you are here with. I met people in this very same room that would grow to take place in prestigious institutions all over the world. People that are now in their local government, international organizations, and taking action in important global issues. But most of all, I met my friends. Hi, guys. So I guess if I'm here now, 9 years later, it's because there's something special about all of this. It's because WIMUN really is a place to inspire, engage, and educate future global citizens. Youth who share a global mindset and support international cooperation. You. And before I commence this conference, it's important to remind all of you that none of this would be possible without the inspiring efforts of the permanent mission of Jamaica and Portugal. WIMUN is forever grateful. Thank you so much. So, without further ado, it's my honor to declare this conference officially opened. Okay. Now that's out of the way, we'll commence our simulation. You are now no longer students, but are esteemed UN representatives for the countries you see right in front of you. For that, I excuse from the podium the president of WAFUNA, the ASG for Youth Affairs, and the permanent representative of Jamaica, and I thank them once again for their time and remarks. Thank you. As we begin the opening plenary, I'd like to invite to the podium the Secretary General, the President of the General Assembly, and the Undersecretary General of General Assembly Affairs and Conference Management. With that, I also say my farewell from the role of Master of Ceremonies and give the floor to the President of the General Assembly, Jimena Barrientos. I'll see you guys around. Thank you.
Numbers, right? The filled up spaces you filled up.
It did not say.
No, I'm talking about the other places.
No,
and
yeah.
You filled that up, right?
I don't have my last speech.
You don't have your speech,
No, I don't.
but you prepared one.
Yeah, I did. But I changed computers.
It's fine, guys. Start it. You need to press this.
I have to press this.
It's on.
Take it a bit closer if you can't speak.
The first meeting of the seventh session of the WIMUN General Assembly is now called to order. I now invite representatives to start and observe 1 minute of silent prayer and meditation.
You will request them to stand with them.
Start.
You can all be seated. It's my great honor to address members at the opening of the seventh session of WIMUN General Assembly. Delegates, around all of the rounds of the corners of the world, we have been gathering here in the United Nations, bringing all of our experiences from around the world, bringing the experiences of our lives into this committee, but reminding that we are striving for a better future, a future that includes justice, peace, and gender equality for all. So, at this conference, we would like to leave all those differences aside, to become one and actually strive for consensus and to make this a better world. When we are in these simulations, you will feel that sometimes consensus can be tiring and sometimes can be really long and hard to achieve. But for us here at the General Assembly, we strive for consensus. We strive for making this world a different place. All of the times that we were faced with the difficulty in our lives really shaped us for being who we're going to be today. It's really important to remember that it doesn't matter where you come from. Your voice is going to be heard in the few simulations that we are going to be held. But I just want to remind you that this is not done for this simulation. You're going to carry this knowledge for the rest of your life. And now, I give the floor to the Secretary General, His Excellency Chinmay Gamblur.
Thank you, Madam President. Dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow advocates, and honored guests at this distinguished conference. As Secretary General of the WIMUN International Model United Nations 2024 conference in New York, I stand before you as the Secretary General in-person conference after the COVID-19 pandemic. Each of you, representing diverse perspectives and aspirations, play a crucial role in shaping the global narrative. As we embark on this diplomatic journey together, let us take a moment to reflect on the significance of our collective efforts. The challenging faces of the world are vast and complex, requiring innovative solutions and a spirit of cooperation. The Model UN platform provides a unique opportunity to simulate the dynamics of international relations, fostering understanding, empathy, and cultivation of diplomatic skills. The WIMUN Model United Nations Conference is just not any other conference, but an academic exercise that is a testament to the power of youth engagement and the belief that positive change begins with each one of you. Your ideas, your perspectives, and your passion are catalysts for building bridges, dismantling barriers, and fostering a sense of shared humility. As you navigate the intricacies of international affairs, always remember that diplomacy is not merely a set of protocols, but a commitment to finding common ground. Embrace the diversity of thought present in this room and let it fuel your aspirations for a better world. In the spirit of collaboration, let us seek solutions that transcend borders, unite nations, and elevate humanity. In your deliberations, I urge you to consider the imperative of sustainable development. The choices we make today resonate far into the future. Embrace the role of youth as catalysts for change, for it is your innovative thinking, passion, and commitment that will drive the global agenda towards a more sustainable future. Your decisions echo beyond this room, influencing the path towards a more just, equitable, and sustainable world. As ambassadors of tomorrow, let your discussions be a beacon for inclusive, environmentally conscious solutions that safeguard our shared future. Thank you, and I wish you a successful conference and hope that you all enjoy this experience. Over to you, Madam President.
I thank the Secretary General for his statement. Distinguished delegates, I invite the General Assembly to begin its general debate. I wish to inform the delegation that the list of speakers during the general debate is closed, and to remind the delegates that are on the list of speakers that they have to deliver a 2-minute statement into their statement. I now give the floor to the first speaker on my list, the distinguished representative of Kenya, Pedro Acevedo Rodriguez.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and good evening ladies and gentlemen, fellow delegates, and secretaries. Just over 8 years ago, on September 25, 2015, the United Nations General Assembly, this assembly, approved the much-discussed Agenda 2030, outlining the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, entitled with the motto, "The Future We Want." However, fellow delegates, the future has arrived. We are now more than halfway through the deadline for achieving the agenda. We are closer to the goal year, 2030, than to its creation, 2015. And is the future as we want it? In our region, in Kenya, it is not. In East Africa, climate change has brought increasing humanitarian and environmental challenges, hindering the achievement of at least goals: number 1, no poverty; 2, zero hunger; 3, good health and well-being; 6, clean water and sanitation; 7, clean energy; 10, reducing inequalities; 11, sustainable cities; and especially 13, climate action. The rains and floods, for example, that Kenya experienced at the end of last year, or the droughts in 2022, destroyed hundreds, thousands, millions of homes and in our region. Lives were lost, delegates. These events impact gender equality in the region, increasing rates of child marriages, and destabilizing, for example, Goal 5 of the agenda, gender equality. Democratic shortcomings in neighboring countries further concern the Kenyan government, also affecting Goal 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Despite all these challenges, the Republic of Kenya maintains firm optimism. Thus, I bring now the motto of the Republic of Kenya, Harambe, which means let us pull all together. Working together and utilizing the United Nations for international cooperation and mediation, we, 193 countries, can achieve the Agenda 2030. In this context, it is crucial that we listen to each other, because just as you delegates have heard about the challenges faced by Kenya and the African community, Kenya also wants to hear about your challenges. All of us need and want a voice. Africa needs and wants a voice. It is precisely this international cooperation that Kenya aims to achieve, working with the various countries in this assembly. And there is no more ideal place for this than the UN. So let us reach our ultimate goal, the future we want. Thank you, delegates.
Thank you, Delegate of Kenya. Now, I give the floor to the distinguished representative of the United States of America.
Respected Excellencies, Secretary General, esteemed delegates, and ladies and gentlemen, today we assemble in the spirit of cooperation and humanity under the banner of WIMUN to reflect on the problems and challenges that ties us together and the collective yearning that fuels our goal for a better future. While there have been tremendous advancements in science, medicine, and technology over the past few years, the number of issues faced by modern civilization has increased significantly. Our world today has been defined by unprecedented global challenges like geopolitical tensions, unlawful invasions, unjustified aggressiveness, and just recently started to recover from a global pandemic. We have become victims of climate change, human rights violation, and emergence of terrorism.
Furthermore, we can see people suffering from the agonizing weight of war and the attacks on civilian infrastructure. People are still enduring various discriminations, and thousands of people still have little to no access to basic needs such as food, water, education, and medicine. Our interconnected world demands an inclusive response to widespread hazards and a shared vision for a future based on sustainable development, justice, and equality. It is essential that we confront a changing geopolitical scenario. We must be dedicated to promoting human rights, resolving the underlying causes of conflict, and advancing international peace and security. In order to foster communication, understanding, and find diplomatic resolutions to disputes and conflicts, we must be prepared to collaborate. We must work on creating a better future for the next generation. We must dare to dream for an aligned society where all people can live free of conflicts.
Please conclude.
And discrimination. Therefore, I like to say that let us embrace the challenges that lie ahead of us and look
Thank you,
them as
delegate.
opportunities.
Please conclude.
Thank you.
I thank the representative of the United States of America for her statements. Now I give the floor to the distinguished representative of Denmark.
Thank you, distinguished colleagues. Denmark is so honored to be here today. In our current world, we face many challenges, but Denmark is grateful for the opportunity to be an integral part of the United Nations as it works to solve critical global issues. As UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has noted, the hopes of the world rest on young people. We can't let them down. Around the world, people are suffering from the impacts of climate change, inequality, lack of peace and stability, and inadequate distribution of resources. Denmark works tirelessly to address these key issues. Yet we cannot do this alone. These areas should be the top wishes and priorities for the UN for the upcoming year. Worldwide, Denmark is viewed as a progressive leader in climate change action. According to many sources, we are fourth in the world. Some of the many initiatives that we have implemented are the Climate Act, the Green Reform Model, and internationally, the Paris Agreement. Denmark is also a leader in reducing inequality and increasing inclusiveness. We are the fourth most gender-equal country in the world and have created the Gender Equality Act, which aims to promote equal participation, influence, and opportunities in every part of society. We additionally feel that the UN should focus their attention on fair resource distribution. Denmark donates 375 million Danish kroner to the Global Fund yearly to improve worldwide access to food, education, shelter, energy, and water. We urge other member states to join us in providing the necessary foundations for growth and stability. And we are, of course, all here today because of the primary goal of the UN, promoting international peace. As we have seen in regions such as the Middle East and Ukraine, it is crucial to work together towards peace and stability. Denmark is a peaceful nation, and we implore others to follow our lead. This is about so much more than Denmark. Only by coming together can we improve the future of humanity. The world is looking to the UN, and we
Thank you,
cannot let them
distinguished
down.
representative of Denmark. Now I give the floor to the next speaker on the list, the distinguished representative of China.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, esteemed delegates, authorities, and distinguished guests. It is a privilege to stand before you today as we gather here to discuss, advocate, and deliberate for solutions to the world's most pressing issues. I am confident that our collective efforts will illuminate the path toward a future of shared understanding. The UN has been the glue on which the pieces of our planet Earth have been held together. Numerous multilateral and regional differences challenge the UN mission every day. It is we, the member states, who have the responsibility to not only overcome those threats, but rather enhance our spirit of union. The People's Republic of China wishes to underscore a paramount concern: international cooperation. As we have seen throughout history and especially in recent years, sanitary crises have represented a threat to the most important thing this world holds: life. During the COVID-19 pandemic, humanity confronted multifaceted challenges, including restricted access to healthcare, economic hardships, and plenty of interconnected issues that significantly impacted global well-being. While these difficult times brought us together in facing the crisis, it also drifted us apart. When millions of lives hang in the balance, the imperative is clear. We must set competition aside and prioritize collaboration. The pursuit of solutions cannot be conducted under an individualistic paradigm. Each nation possesses the potential to not only contribute significantly to resolving global challenges. We call upon all developed nations with larger economic and technological capacities to join forces with the developing ones through the sharing of resources and knowledge, making it possible to achieve a united response to challenges for the common future. Our goal is to keep working tirelessly towards the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Through unwavering dedication to this commitment, we aspire to pave the way for a more secure and sustainable future, embodying the authentic spirit of unity championed by the United Nations.
May I ask you to conclude?
Thank you.
I thank the representative of China. Now, I give the floor to the distinguished representative of Australia. Please remember that the time lapse is 2 minutes.
Good evening, Honorable Secretary and my fellow delegates. The Australian delegation would first like to thank for the opportunity to attend such an important meeting for the world diplomacy. The Commonwealth of Australia bases its international presence on building a future of integrity and prosperity. In order to achieve this integrity and prosperity, we, the international community, must achieve equality of opportunity and rights, because there is no point in a world in which the few live to the detriment of those who survive. And so, the Commonwealth of Australia, with the Uluru Statement from the Heart, a letter of defense of the indigenous people of the Indo-Pacific in mind, seeks to build a web of solidarity with the help of all of you. Peace is the minimum condition for such prosperity, so we make this appeal. Let's put our differences aside and achieve a harmony that humanity has never experienced in its entirety. The United Nations is the intermediary for this process. We need this stage of the international diplomacy to achieve our goals. According to the third paragraph of the UN Charter, we are here to achieve international cooperation in solving international problems of an economic, social, cultural, or humanitarian character. Reinforcing the points brought by Brian Wallace, representative of Jamaica, in speech, we need to fight harder, want more, seek more. The world needs international governance to help it overcome the obstacles of modernity. With this in mind, representing all Australians, the delegation hereby makes an appeal. We must expand global integration mechanisms such as the UN, and it is the only way to unify policies for social inclusion, humanitarian response, and the protection of human dignity. End of speech. Thank you.
I thank the representative from Australia for his statement. Now, I give the floor to the distinguished representative of South Africa.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you all. Today, we gather with a shared purpose to discuss, exchange perspectives, and renew our commitment to promoting well-being for all. Our collective efforts are crucial in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. As we stand at the midpoint of this journey, it is essential to reflect on our past experiences and prepare for the challenges ahead. The COVID-19 pandemic has been a stark reminder of our vulnerability. Millions of people slipped into extreme poverty, and billions had no choice but to face the hardship brought by a lack of resource. We witnessed the fragility of mankind in nature. Yet, in this challenge lies an opportunity. The heightened public awareness of pandemic prevention and control offers us a chance to address these shortcomings. Moreover, ongoing conflicts have caused immense suffering and destruction. These wars have had a devastating impact on those living in or near conflict zones. Deadlock situations and daily casualties underline the urgent need for resolution. The rapidly growing number of wounded amidst a lack of essential care further exacerbates these crises. Delegates, we are at a pivotal moment in history. This is a world demanding for new changes, and we, all of us, gather here today to take responsibility. We must recognize that only through joint efforts can we effectively address these problems and crises. Let us commit to cooperative, comprehensive, creative, and effective work. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you, delegates.
I thank the representative for South Africa for her statement. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Japan.
Thank you, Madam President. Excellencies and delegates, the late Shinzo Abe reminded us that growth must be inclusive and no one is to be left behind. Yet, in 2023, 114 million people were displaced due to conflict, persecution, and human rights violations. That's roughly 14 times the population of our host city, New York. Just under half the world's population, 3.6 billion people lived in areas highly susceptible to climate change. Over 165 million people lived in pervasive poverty, the equivalent of the populations of Canada, the United Kingdom, and Sweden combined. We cannot claim to foster growth as an international community if these are the people we are leaving behind. To realise a society where no one is left behind in today's interconnected and rapidly changing environment, the international community must prioritise unity around shared principles to enhance global resilience. As a country committed to multilateralism, Japan appreciates the role of the 2030 Agenda and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Yet, just 12% of these targets are on track. 50% show weak progress, and 30% have shown no action. Aiming to achieve these targets is simply not enough. Japan recognises that 2024 presents the opportunity to create impact and has demonstrated its commitment to 4 key growth areas via the ASEAN-Japan Friendship and Cooperation. Japan encourages member states to foster partnerships in 2024 to set the international community on a better path. By unifying our minds and utilising strategic planning and innovation and technology, we can foster ideas on how to better respond to current and future challenges. 2024 must be a year of growth and change by promoting change in national policy, tailored to reinvigorate multilateralism, to restore trust, and to ensure that no one is left behind. Thank you.
I thank the representative from Japan for her statement. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Switzerland.
Dear representatives of nations, Switzerland thank you for your presence. Switzerland believes that the various meetings that will be withdrawn, the days will be of great benefit. As each of the nations present at this assembly wishes to seek solutions to the world's major problems. International collaboration is more than necessary in a world where wars, hunger crises, and the risk of disasters are increasing. To achieve this, Switzerland believes that we must use our research we have available, such as artificial intelligence. AIs can up a wide range of opportunities, economic development, and peace. But everything must be regulated within human limits so that nothing gets out of control. As a Swiss proverb would say, words are dwarfs, the examples are giants. Nations must be giants in search of human planet and sun. And this will only happen with the help of each person present, from the Security Council to the International Labour Organization. Thanks.
I thank the representative from Switzerland for his statement. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Cambodia.
Excellencies, delegates. As our world becomes more advanced, the complexities of living continue to present themselves to us in different forms. The solution to these issues lies not in one nation, but through united efforts as we hold each other's hand in times of difficulty. Cambodia values the principles of peace, stability, and sustainable development, and so we call for strengthened international cooperation to address issues that oppose these principles in forms such as poverty, environmental degradation, and healthcare inaccessibility. In addition to that, Cambodia wishes for the upcoming year that the United Nations continues its efforts in supporting conflict resolution and prevention and fostering diplomatic dialogue as a means to resolve conflicts. We also advocate for an increased effort in fostering the advancement of social and economic development in the sense that the focus be on the empowerment of the vulnerable. Environmental sustainability is paramount for not just Cambodia, but for each and every country being represented, for each and every community, for each and every life. We emphasize the urgency for a collective action to combat climate change, protect biodiversity, and promote sustainable practices for not only our current generation, but for generations to come. In conclusion, Cambodia stands ready to collaborate with the global community in achieving these important aspirations, which serve as a common denominator. As this is not just a story, this is our future. Thank you.
I thank the representative for Cambodia for her statement. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Nigeria.
The future is built by the next generation. Dear Madam President, distinguished guests, and fellow delegates, the delegation of Nigeria stands here with great honor and purpose, eager to address our theme of wishes and priorities for the United Nations today. We would like to bring attention to the Sustainable Development Goals developed by the United Nations in 2015, hoping to achieve this by 2030. Coming to our attention is the approaching deadline. We would like to therefore take this opportunity to address our stance and support specifically towards Goal 4, quality education for all. Alarmed by the current state of the lack of educational opportunities across the world, specifically with 40% of countries yet to achieve gender parity and equal distributions of skills among the impoverished, an estimated 84 million children and young people will not get the access to education by 2030. And even more alarming, 300 million will not have the basic numeracy and literacy skills. All these have raised the question of how we, as members of the United Nations, could work together to raise the awareness and probability of quality education for all. Recognizing that collaborative efforts and partnerships are necessary, conferences such as today are an important stepping stone for all of us to be one step closer to achieving our final goal. Thus, Nigeria wishes for the United Nations to bring more attention towards the Sustainable Development Goals, even more towards Goal 4. Let us work together to create a future where no one is left behind on the road of knowledge and opportunities. Thank you.
I thank the representative from Nigeria for her statement. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Czechia.
Honorable chairs, fellow delegates, allow me to delve deeper into the wishes and priorities of the Czech Republic for the United Nations in the upcoming year. As a nation nestled in the heart of Europe, Czechia recognizes the significance of global collaboration in addressing the pressing issues that confront us all. First and foremost, we advocate for a UN that embodies unity and coherence. In a world marked by diverse perspectives, it's crucial that we stand together to find common ground. Our wish is for the United Nations to become an even more effective platform for diplomatic dialogue. Environmental sustainability is a cause close to our hearts. The Czech Republic is deeply committed to the goal of the Paris Agreement, and we implore the United Nations to intensify its effort in combating climate change. The urgency of this matter cannot be overstated, and we believe that only through concerted international action can we hope to secure a sustainable future for our planet. Moreover, our priorities include the promotion of human rights and international cooperation. The United Nations should continue to be a steadfast advocate for peace, tolerance, and inclusivity. In a world marked by diversity, understanding and respect for one another's cultures and beliefs are paramount. The UN must actively work towards creating an environment where dialogue prevails over discords and collaboration triumphs over conflicts. Addressing socioeconomic disparities is another crucial aspect of our vision. The Czech Republic urges the United Nations to lead the charge in eradicating poverty, ensuring equal access to education, and improving healthcare worldwide. In conclusion, the Czech Republic envisions a year where the United Nations stands as a beacon of hope, guiding nations towards a future of shared prosperity, environmental sustainability, and global cooperation. Let us seize the opportunity to work together for the betterment of humanity. Thank you.
I thank the representative of Czechia for her statement. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Chile.
Madam President, I stand before you as the representative of the Republic of Chile, deeply honored to address this prestigious assembly at the United Nations. It is with great privilege that I convey our nation's aspiration and key priority for the year ahead. Chile, a country steadily dedicated to the principle of peace, democracy, and human rights, presents its vision for a world that is more principled and harmonious. Foremost among our desires for the United Nations in the coming year is the continuity of its role as a beacon of hope and cooperation for the global community. Chile envisions a future where the United Nations remains a central force in addressing worldwide challenges, facilitating and dialogue among nations, and promoting sustainable development. As the front of the agenda is a call for renewed commitment to achieving the sustainable development goals. Chile firmly believes that these goals hold the key to a more equitable and prosperous world. We urge the United Nations to the key to a more mobilized resources, facilitate international collaborations, and maintain the SDGs as a top priority on our collective agenda. Moreover, Chile places paramount importance on climate action. We implore the United Nations to take ambitious steps in combating climate change and safeguarding our planet for the future generations. Chile has constantly championed environmental sustainability and will assert that United Nations should assume a leadership role in innovation policies and initiatives to address climate-related challenges. Another pivotal concern for Chile is the promotion of peace and conflict resolution. We call upon the United Nations to continue its indispensable peacekeeping efforts and development initiatives across the globe. Chile stands prepared to contribute constructively to these efforts and actively engaged in the peaceful resolution of conflicts. Furthermore, we emphasize the necessity for the...
Delegate, please kindly conclude.
Thank you.
Thank you. I thank the representative from Vietnam for her statement. Chile. Sorry. I thank the representative from Chile for her statement. We have heard the last speaker on my list of the opening plenary. I wish to remind the delegates that if they have not yet subscribed... I wish to remind the delegates that if they have not yet subscribed list of the speakers.
We have one more speaker to speak of Vietnam.
Sorry, the chair corrects. Now I give the floor to the distinguished representative of Vietnam to speak in front of the floor.
The principles of living greatly include the capacity to face trouble with courage, disappointment with cheerfulness, and trial with humility. Thomas S. Monson. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, panelists, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. With each passing day, our world faces an uncertain future. Our reality seems ever-changing and unpredictable, and innovative thinking is the only way to tackle the changes we face. This WIMUN conference gives us, as the leaders of tomorrow, the opportunity to collaborate and create world-moving solutions to ultimately improve our reality and our future. This aligns with the desire of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam, SRV, for the United Nations, to foster a greater sense of collaboration as we work towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. In particular, the delegate of Vietnam wishes to emphasize the importance of SDG 14, Life Below Water. While significant actions have been taken to achieve this goal, the SRV believes that further steps need to be taken regarding the measures being implemented. Consequently, Vietnam strongly believes that greater emphasis should be placed on the ocean science policy interface, as it is a crucial aspect of working towards the sustainable development of the ocean. Furthermore, Vietnam desires to emphasize its conviction on nuclear weapons. The best way to eliminate the threat of nuclear weapons is to completely eradicate them. The SRV urges the United Nations to take swifter action and decisive actions regarding the future of nuclear weapons and to show greater conviction in seeking total disarmament. Vietnam hopes for a productive conference and a historic year of working towards our goals and the betterment of our planet as a whole. I leave you with the words of Leila Gifty Akita. There is beauty and power in unity. We must be united in heart and mind. One world, one people. Thank you.
I thank the representative for her statement. Now, we have heard the last speaker on my list for the opening plenary. I wish to remind the delegates that if they have not yet subscribed to the list of speakers in their respective simulations, they should do so by tomorrow noon. The first meeting of the 7th session of the WIMUN conference is now adjourned. Delegates, before you leave the venue, I just want to remind you that you are not allowed to take pictures up here in the podium, and we have to leave the hall as soon as possible. We also found some AirPods and an Apple Watch, so if it's yours, please come to us so we can give it to you. Take everything with you because you're not going to be able to go back. Any trash that you have, please pick it up and take it outside.